Namaskar. Tucked away inside India's busiest airports, there's a powerful business that most of us have used, but very few of us actually understand. It operates right there in plain sight, and it takes a little piece of millions of journeys every single day. Today, we're going to unpack the brilliant business model of this hidden giant, a company that's basically the ultimate airport toll collector. So, to really get this, we have to start with the big picture. And the big picture is that India's aviation sector has seen a massive, massive boom over the last 10 years. The country has literally soared to become the third largest domestic aviation market in the entire world. It's a huge driver of our economy. Let me just give you a number to put this in perspective. Back in 2014, India had just 74 operational airports. Now, you fast forward to today, and that number has shot up to 163. That's more than double the number of airports in just about a decade. This isn't just a little bit of growth, you see. It's a fundamental change in how India moves. So, this leads to a really important question, right? If you're an investor, you're thinking, with all these millions of new passengers flying every year, who is sitting right there in the perfect spot to capitalize on every single person that walks through those airport gates? Well, the answer to that question is a company called Travel Food Services, or TFS. These guys are the undisputed leaders in India's travel, food, and beverage space. And their business model, well, that's exactly what we're here to unpack. So how does it all work? Honestly, the best way to think about it is that airport toll collector idea. They provide essential services, food, drink, a place to relax, to a captive audience. And that audience is us, waiting for our flights with not many other options. The business really stands on two strong legs. On one side, you have all the quick service restaurants, the QSRs, the coffee shops, the food courts, the fast food joints. And on the other side, you've got the premium airport lounges, a quiet space for people to work or just get away from the chaos. And the scale of their operations is just staggering. We're talking about 442 food outlets and 37 lounges. And get this, they are present in 13 out of the top 15 airports in India. That strategic position means they cover about 74% of all the passenger traffic in the country. Their model is also really smart. They use a mix of big international brands that everyone recognizes and their own in-house brands, which helps them make better margins. Now, this kind of dominance, it doesn't just happen by chance. It's built on something that investors get really excited about, a deep economic moat. This is really the heart of the story, the structural advantage that keeps competitors at bay. Now, for anyone who's not familiar with the term, an economic moat is exactly what it sounds like. Think of the ditch around a castle. It's a durable, long-term advantage that makes it incredibly difficult for anyone else to come in and attack your business and your profits. In fact, one deep dive report on the company put it perfectly. They said that TFS is probably the most literal example of a toll bridge you can find in the modern economy. And when you think about it, it's absolutely true. So you might be asking, well, why can't someone else just set up shop right next to them? The thing is, the barriers to get into this business are immense. First, you need a huge amount of money up front. Second, the contracts with the airports are super long-term, often for 10 years or even more, which locks out new players. Third, running a 24/7 food operation in a high-security zone is a logistical nightmare. And finally, the amount of security and compliance rules you have to follow is just incredible. And what's the result of all this? Well, here it is, an incredible 94% contract retention rate. A number that high tells you one thing. The airport operators are very, very happy with them, and that makes it even harder for a competitor to get a foot in the door. Every year, that moat just gets wider and deeper. Okay, now let's dive into what I think is the most fascinating part of this whole business, the airport lounges. This part of the company isn't just growing, it has a truly wonderful economic engine behind it. First, just look at their market position. TFS controls a massive 45% of the entire Indian airport lounge market. That makes them the #1 player in a space that's growing like crazy and has really high profit margins. But here's the real magic. How do you get into a lounge? For most of us, it's with a premium credit or debit card, right? Well, this creates a business model that is incredibly rare. It's called a negative customer acquisition cost. Think about that for a second. Most companies spend a fortune on marketing to get customers. TFS actually gets paid by banks and card companies to serve their best, highest value customers. It's the kind of beautiful, profitable dynamic that makes a business truly special. So we know the business is dominant and it's very profitable. But what about the future? Let's take a look at the flight path ahead and see what's going to drive their growth from here. Well, the projections are incredibly strong. The main QSR business is expected to grow at a very healthy 17 to 19% every year. But the real story is the lounge business. That's projected to grow even faster, at a staggering 22 to 24% annually for the next 10 years. That's just explosive. And this growth isn't just coming from one place. It's coming from everywhere. You've got massive new airports being built in places like Navi Mumbai and Noida. Existing airports are being expanded. Passengers are spending more money every time they travel. TFS is even expanding internationally. It's a growth story with many, many chapters. And this brings us right back to the very beginning, to the big picture. India has a national vision to have over 350 airports by the year 2047. We're expecting passenger traffic to cross 1 billion people. For a company like TFS, this provides a runway for growth that could last for decades. They are a direct investment in the rise of the Indian economy and its middle class. So I'll leave you with this final thought. As India's aviation story continues its incredible climb and 1 billion of us take to the skies, the question isn't just about which airline is going to win. It's about who owns the essential infrastructure of travel itself. Who is the one standing at the gate, day in and day out, collecting the toll?